They say you can tell a lot about a woman by the moment she decides to change her body. But what nobody tells you is how loud the silence gets right before that decision. Because the night Chantel Everett posted that photo, the one that stopped phones mid-scroll and made even her biggest fans whisper, "Wait, is that really her?" It wasn't just about new curves or a new look. It felt like a secret finally breaking through the surface. And the scariest part wasn't what she showed. It was what it hinted she'd been hiding all along. I remember staring at that post longer than I should have. Chantel standing there, confident, glowing, almost daring the world to look. And yet, beneath the glam and the perfect lighting, there was something else. Something heavy, something emotional. Because when a woman who's been torn apart publicly decides to change something so personal, it's never just cosmetic. It's a message, and whether you love her or criticize her, that message hit hard. I know what you're thinking. Reality stars get surgery all the time. This isn't news. But stay with me, because this wasn't just a procedure. This was a line in the sand. This was Chantel saying, "I survived something you didn't see, and I'm done pretending it didn't hurt." From the moment Chantel Everett walked into our lives on 90 Day Fiancé, she wasn't just another pretty face chasing love on TV. She was the girl with the soft voice and the strong stare, the nursing student who looked like she had it all together, but somehow always ended up in emotional chaos. Her love story with Pedro pulled millions of us in, not because it was perfect, but because it was painfully real. Family fights, cultural clashes, accusations, tears, so many tears. And through all of it, Chantel kept smiling, kept showing up, kept trying to prove she was enough. But here's the part nobody was ready for. While the cameras followed her marriage, her fights, her breakdowns, they missed something crucial. They missed what it feels like to slowly lose your sense of self while the world watches and judges every inch of you. They missed the quiet nights when the makeup comes off, the comments echo in your head, and you start to question not just your relationship, but your worth. When her marriage finally fell apart, it wasn't just a breakup. It was a public autopsy. Fans took sides. Strangers analyzed her body, her voice, her attitude, her femininity. Some praised her looks, others tore her down. And when you're constantly reduced to what you look like, it messes with you in ways people don't talk about. I want to be real with you for a second. If you've ever looked in the mirror after heartbreak and thought, if I just changed this one thing, maybe I'd feel stronger, then you already understand more than you think. Chantel's decision didn't come out of nowhere. It came out of years of being watched, judged, and compared. It came out of a divorce that didn't just end a marriage, but shattered an identity she built in front of millions. And if you're feeling this story already, if you've ever followed Chantel's journey or felt connected to her pain, make sure you subscribe to Talent Zone Updates. Not because we chase drama, but because we talk about the human cost behind the headlines. Trust me, stories like this deserve to be told with honesty. Now let's talk about the moment everything exploded. Chantel posts the photo. New breasts, new confidence, new energy. Within minutes, the internet went wild. Instagram comments flooded in like a tidal wave. One fan wrote, "She looks happy for the first time in years." Another said, "After everything she's been through, let her live." But not everyone was supportive. Some comments were brutal. "She's trying too hard. This screams insecurity. Why does she need surgery when she was already beautiful?" Then TikTok grabbed it and ran. Videos analyzing her body popped up overnight. Side-by-side comparisons, slow zooms, dramatic music. One creator said, "This isn't about looks. This is about control." And suddenly, what could have been a personal choice turned into a public debate about self-worth, feminism, and healing. Twitter, or X, was even messier. One tweet went viral saying, "Chantel didn't just upgrade her body. She upgraded her boundaries." Another clapped back with, "Or maybe she's still hurting and trying to hide it." Reddit threads stretched for pages, fans dissecting her past scenes, looking for clues, wondering if Pedro's words, the fights, the rejection pushed her here. But here's where the story gets deeper. Layer 1 was obvious. Yes, Chantel got breast surgery. She changed her body. That's what the headlines screamed. Layer 2 was confidence. The way she posed, the way she smiled, the way she owned the moment. It felt like a woman reclaiming her space. Layer 3 was rebellion. After years of being told who she should be, how she should act, what kind of wife she should look like, this felt like her saying, I decide now. Layer 4 is where it gets uncomfortable. Because beneath the confidence and rebellion was grief. Grief for the girl who thought love would save her. Grief for the marriage that broke her trust. Grief for the years she spent shrinking herself to keep peace. Surgery doesn't erase that. It sits on top of it, like armor. Beautiful armor, but armor nonetheless. And then there's layer 5. The one nobody wants to say out loud. This wasn't just about Chantel changing how she looks. It was about changing how she feels when she walks into a room alone. When she dates again. When she faces the world without Pedro. This was about control after chaos. And that's the part that hits hardest, because control is something heartbreak steals from you first. I know what you're thinking, but wait until you hear this. Sources close to Chantel say this decision had been on her mind long before the photo ever went up. Long before the likes and comments. This wasn't impulsive. This was planned, thought out, emotionally charged. Friends noticed she'd been quieter, more reflective, more protective of her peace. She wasn't chasing validation. She was rebuilding herself in private. And that's why the backlash stung. Because imagine finally doing something for you, only to have strangers decide what it means. Imagine healing out loud in a world that profits off your pain. Chantel didn't owe anyone an explanation, yet the pressure to justify herself was immediate. What hurts the most is how familiar this story feels. A woman survives public heartbreak, and instead of asking if she's okay, people ask if she's fake now. Instead of celebrating her strength, they question her motives. Why is it so hard to believe that a woman can change her body and still be whole? Chantel hasn't given a long speech about the surgery. No dramatic confession. And honestly, that silence speaks volumes. Sometimes the loudest healing happens without words. Sometimes the glow up isn't for attention. It's for survival. So here's my question to you. If you were in her shoes, after years of being dissected, criticized, and emotionally drained, would you do things differently? Would you stay the same to keep others comfortable, or would you choose yourself, even if it meant being misunderstood? Another question that keeps haunting me is this. Why do we cheer transformations until they remind us of our own wounds? Chantel's new look isn't just a headline. It's a mirror, and not everyone likes what it reflects. As the noise continues, one thing is clear. Chantel Everett is no longer asking for permission. She's not waiting to be understood. She's moving forward, scars and all, in a body she chose, on her own terms. And whether you see that as empowerment or insecurity says more about us than it does about her. The biggest shock isn't the surgery. It's the realization that we watched a woman grow up, fall apart, and rebuild herself in real time, and we're still uncomfortable when she takes control of her own narrative. Maybe that's the real story here. Not what she changed, but why it makes people uneasy. Because at the end of the day, Chantel didn't just show off new breasts. She showed the world that healing doesn't always look the way we expect. Sometimes it looks bold, sometimes it looks controversial, and sometimes it looks like a woman standing tall after being broken, saying without words, I'm still here. And now I want to hear from you. Do you see this as strength, or do you think it's pain dressed up as confidence? Is this a fresh start, or a chapter still haunted by the past? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because this conversation isn't going away anytime soon.